All right, grand day, everyone. It's Shay Seeking, and I'm back. And this is going to be another episode of This Is Not Your Mama's Bible Study. And yeah, so today, again, we're not actually going to be in the Bible. I just figured the way that I'm going to do this is because, again, this is for, my spiritual growth and discernment as well as others. And I can only go where the Spirit kind of leads me randomly, here and there. So I don't know. I had been thinking about Bobby Hemmett, um, and goodness, yeah. And so I don't know. I had been thinking about him for the past couple of weeks, and I think I ended up watching one of his videos, and he was talking about a couple of books. So I went ahead and ordered the books. And so again, these are the people that I'm so thankful. Again, all glory to the Elohim. Okay, and it's just I'm just in a place where I'm just like amazed at some of the things that are happening. um and I think that now so much like I'm starting to understand that whole thing of follow Christ, right? I don't think it ever says to worship him, and if it does, I haven't run across that yet, or anything heavy on saying to worship uh, Yeshua, but to follow, um, or pick up the cross. That's kind of like what comes to reference when I'm thinking that way. So like his story is telling you something. The story is not about him. It's basically probably about those who are in Christ in that consciousness, right? So again, I'm never here to tell you what it is or what it ain't. I'm simply sharing what it looked like me. Okay. So again, it's very early in the morning. And I just got up and I decided to go ahead and do this. Now, I still don't really have internet service. And my 4G is still acting up. And it just so happens just to be my stuff that's not working properly. But, for some reason, the sun is shining in my window, and I had to come upstairs in order to get some type of reception, which is weird. And so that's the cue to go, because this really hasn't been really working that much at all. And especially in this, so funny because it's um, there are some apps or websites and things that I go on, and it just starts acting funny as if hmm, there's like and this is just how I feel, that there's like a force or something that's there that is, whether it's good or bad. Again, I'm so hard-headed and bullheaded sometimes that I don't really pay attention to signs and symbols, again. And I know that there's a time to speak and a time to be silent, right? So again, I'm trying to balance out what this energy is trying to do. But I have noticed that it's brought the family to communicating with each other a little bit more. That's one good thing, because yeah, I mean, what else you gonna do? So anyhow, let's keep going. Okay, so let's go ahead and read this book. So he and again, I have this image up here. I was looking for an image of Bobby Hemmett because, again, these are people that have been very helpful in my journey. And everybody knows, so it's not like I'm putting him on the spot, like it's not already, people don't already honor him or pay homage, to him. So I picked this image because this is kind of like how I see things too, right? And then the fact that this tribe, I feel that I have a connection to, right? So whereas, so like when we're reading in the biblical text, I see this tribal, these people, in the text, in certain, I think in the book of Esther, and they even say Susa. Okay, so like, the Susa. Okay, we're not gonna go. We're not gonna go there. We're gonna just read this book. But I'm just saying, we can have all of the DNA and all of the paperwork we want, but no one really can tie back to the times when people were not using those tools and elements in order to, figure out. We also have to figure in certain things, inconsistencies, many inconsistency, I'm sure, when it comes to these particular things. So again, they are keys and tools that, yes, we should be trying to access and we should be working on. But at the same time, it should not be the end all. That's all I'm trying to say about that. That there is a spiritual presence here, and there are, the ancestors, the guides, and the gods are among us. And at this point in time, we can tap into other things that you may not have access to with, uh, you know, acts. Listen, maybe I started too early. Um, that you may not have access to in this physical realm, but you can tap into it another way. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and read this. This is man. Okay, so this book is called Ye Are Gods. So it's a big, thick book about making references of all the times when it's saying that people are gods. Okay, so we're in Man, Know Thy Place. Okay, and it's chapter 3. Okay, and it says, if your earthly parents did not create you, then some greater power must have had a hand. Surely you didn't create yourself. If you had, you would know how to keep yourself in perfect health. You would have the power to live without age, leaving its mark and stopping your shoulders, or stooping your shoulders, dulling your sight and making your hair white. You have created all the intricate parts in the beginning, would know just what to do about it. But you did not create yourself, because you know nothing more about the body of yours than your parents do. That is, not with the physical mind. If you did not create yourself and your parents could not create you, then it must be assumed that some greater intelligence had a hand in this marvelous personage of you. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, the little clay body of the earthly elements, and the spirit shall return to God who gave it. Ecclesiastes 12:7. Then John the Beloved adds still another bit of information. No man hath ascended upon to heaven. Okay? It's almost just made me think about how no man has gone to the moon. Possibly. Like they say. So let's keep going. But he that came down from heaven. Okay? So no man has ascended up to heaven, but he that came down from heaven. Beautiful. Even the Son of Man, which is in heaven. And again, this heaven is talking about, I feel, again, we could be talking about a mental status of a most high self. And we can also be talking about the heavens when it comes to the construct that we're under. Again. Okay? All right. So in other words, even the Son of Man, in order to get back into heaven, had to come down from heaven in the first place. Okay. So again, I'm wondering if this is also talking about the Son of Man, in order to get back into heaven, had to come down from heaven in the first place. May mean that he had to come down from his higher self. It reminds me of what I was just reading in Isaiah about the foul lips and burnt with the coal. Um, and he said, well, I'm amongst foul mouthed people. So, you know, um, I don't know, that just reminded me of that. Mm, okay. So again, I'm wondering if this son of man had to come down to a lower vibrational status um, in order to do so. Okay. And no man shall ever return, okay, who did not abide in heaven before he came to earth. So nobody that was not already in the heavens can return there if he wasn't um, in heaven at first. So again, this makes me think the birth before. No, what is it that came before the? Yeah, I think it was a birth that came before. Not creation. Goodness, it's another. It's a scripture, a part of the scripture that I'm thinking. Oh man, I don't even know if I'm going back into Genesis, but let's just keep going, okay? Before he came to earth. So again, this person would have already had to be in an elevated status, and I'm feeling like had to come down to a low vibrational status in order to do this, and then be able to rise back up possibly, or remember. And again, this could be talking about people of old that were of old kingdoms that have been in the Sheol or the underworld or the untouchable or undesirables that were through bloodline and lineage in the kingdom. I mean, in the kingdom of heaven, but they lost their standing or were overturned or whatnot at some point in time. Okay. Now I know people say Job, but this say Job. Just say Job, Job. Now I've seen it Joab, but in this book it says Job, so we're just gonna say Job. Okay. It says, in his grief and despair over the hardship and the trials he was called upon to endure, at last lifted up his voice to God and cursed the day he was born. He gave it a going over as only Job was capable of. And Job spoke and said, let the day perish wherein I was born, and the night in which it was said, there is a man child conceived. Okay? So again, this is saying, let that day perish. So again, what could that really mean? You know, like let it be unknown, let it be something that, um, goes away. And again, I, again, we're reading this together real quick. And again, I don't do like deep thing and take notes. We just go. We just freestyle. So, if I don't feel comfortable with something, or if I'll just stop, or we'll come back to it, or hopefully you can come up with your own, understanding. And again, I'm hoping that's what you're doing anyway, you know. Okay. Greater works. It's even reminding me of just like how a lot of us lay down the foundation for something, and and it's not even about that. It's just sometimes for somebody to start something, it can spark something in other people, and then it turns into a beautiful thing when you see that you may have spoken on something, but it actually grew into something, again, somebody greater, greater works that they will do. Okay. So I mean, that's just why I just see everything as just like blooming and a blossoming thing. Like when you think you're awkward and you're weird and you do things differently and you're scared to do these things, but then you just go ahead and do it, and then you start seeing more people sharing their gifts too. It just feels like, building a family in a sense, you know like a celestial family in a sense. I mean, if we can even just use that word just to try to generalize it. Um, and it's, yeah, it's just a, a beautiful thing. So, because that's, I mean, it's just all about the spread of this information, because it's just really moving things along. I mean, I just really see a difference. So, okay. But anyways, day perished when I was born, and the night in which it was said, there is a man child conceived. So again, it's almost like he wants to put a shield over it, or forget about that, It says, let the day be darkness. Let not God regard it from above. Okay? Wow. Neither let the light shine upon it. Wow. It says here, let darkness and... Oh. All right. I don't know. Something about this part right here just... Okay. So, shine, okay, upon it. Let darkness and the shadow of death stain it. Let a cloud dwell upon it. Let the blackness of the day terrify it. As for the night, let darkness seize upon it. Let it not be joined unto the days of the year. Let it not come into the number of the months. Lo, let the night be solitary. Let no joyful voice come therein. Let them curse it that curse the day, who are ready to rise up their morning. Let the stars of the twilight thereof be dark. Let the light, let it look for light, but have none. Neither let it see the dawning of the day, because it shut not up the doors of my mother's womb, nor hid sorrow from my eyes. This is only part of it. There is a whole chapter given over to Job's grief for having been born into this world. Most of us at some time or another in our lives have wondered why we are born, and even perhaps resent being here. It says, here is God's answer to Job. That's what we're going to call him on here. That's what it say. And also to us, gird up now thy loins like a man, for I will demand of thee the answer. Okay. Hold on, let me open up this window a little bit more. Okay. Okay. So it says, okay, let the stars of the twilight therefore be dark. Let it look for light, but have none. Neither let it see the dawning of the day, because it shut not up the doors of my mother's womb, nor hid sorrow from mine eyes. This is only part of it. There is a whole chapter given over to Job's grief for having been born into this world. Most of us at some times in our lives have wondered why we were born, and even perhaps resenting being here. Here is God's answer to Job, or Job. And also to us, gird up now thy loins like a man, for I will demand of thee, excuse me, and answer thou me. Where wast thou when I laid the foundation of the earth? Declare if thou hast understanding. when the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy. In Job 38, 3 through 7. This is what is really being said to Job. Or we're just going to say Job. Okay, y'all? I can't get it. I can't stop. Stop whining and be a man. Have you forgotten how badly you wanted to come to earth? Are you not one of my sons? Were you not among them who I laid the foundation of the earth? Do you not shout for joy with the others that were to have the privilege of being born into this world and gain a body of flesh and bones, to learn good from evil, to learn to handle tangible materials, to choose between right and wrong, to prove your worth? God in reality was giving Job a stern rebuke for cursing the day of his birth. He was also reminding him of his great eagerness to come here. God always desires his children to gird up their loins like men. His children must be self-reliant, not whining, weakling. He led the children of Israel for 40 years in one of the most desolate spots upon the earth. Why? Because they whined and had to be taught self-reliance and faith of God or in God. And this day he again led or drove his noble and great ones from the nations of the earth to this new land to build, to conquer, to achieve, but mostly to become men. Men of vision and courage and stamina. Men who could stand united for democracy and truth and goodness and honor. On the state capitol building of California are these words: bring us men to match our mountains. The cry of America from the beginning of its development has gone up, that invitation for the great and noble to come and partake in the greatness of a heritage of freedom, and to give of their strength to the land in which they live, be it village, hamlet, town, or city. God desires a people who can pioneer in physical, scientific, and spiritual fields. He desires mankind not only to understand the purpose of their existence, but to courageously cast out all fear, to march with their face to the light. Unwaveringly and uncomplainingly, he desires that they learn to humble themselves in great and mighty prayer, that they might be a great people. Okay? No man is great. So again, even thinking about this in hindsight, as if like, we're looking at the Bible as like a living word. So again, we're unwrapping the past, present, and somewhat future. Kind of like manifesting again along the way. Okay? But being guided. And it's kind of like, so again, looking at the word as though some of this stuff had been written, like the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs and things like that being written, not about the people that were actually there then, but as a forewarning or something for those who would come in the future. So I know we look at it as them being in the past, but again, that's just the way that I'm seeing. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. So he desires that they learn to humble themselves in great and mighty prayer, that they might be a great people. No man is greater than his power to humble himself. He desires a people who can exercise faith to accomplish the things beyond human power. Oh. And he who receiveth all things with thankfulness shall be made glorious, and the things of this earth shall be added unto him, even 100-fold, yea, more. It is not sufficient that this people live just because they are alive. It isn't enough that they get up in the morning and eat breakfast, doing their morning assignments, eat lunch, finish their daily routine of tasks, eat dinner, relax, and go to bed at night. Not day after day, throughout a whole life, no matter how busy that life. Anyone who lives a life like that is wasting it. It's so funny because I was just having this conversation last night about this, about how we've been trained to see the world today, and as if we're living when we're not. We're just dying really slow. And how society has created this atmosphere for destruction and deserting, or is there a word? Can we use dissertation? Is that a word? Maybe not. I don't know. But you see what I'm saying? Deserted. Okay. We'll say deserted. Okay. Divided, damaged, And again, so this new life that's coming, this life force, that's coming in would have to be something that would be triggered within you. It will be something that you find within yourself. And once you start opening up the gates, then you'll start to link up with other like-minded and beings, um, despite what they look like, inside and out. I mean, outside. Okay? Or outward appearance is what I'm trying to say. Or what works, they do. I mean, I just feel like the whole, okay, we won't go there because that's going to turn into a rant about that. But I'm just saying that, like, are we really living? If you're on that hamster wheel, and again, most of us are working for things that are material things. A lot of people I think are talking about land and stuff nowadays, which is great. But most people, the majority of people, feel like that's living. Okay. We'll do a whole separate video on that, really, probably. Okay. And again, because I was complaining about, I might have been complaining a little bit about, like, being someone that goes against the grain, and, I don't like to, like, follow rule, like, I mean, I can respect laws and rules to a certain extent, but, I just don't like nobody telling me what to do. So this has been like a real, like, journey for me. And it's always going to be, but, yeah, I don't like the structured. So I just, like, that's what I feel. I just want to be free. I want to be free to be me, But again, people have to eat, and you have to be doing something. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what the book says we're supposed to be doing. Okay. Yeah. So anybody that lives a life like that is wasting it. If you don't have time to slow down, right? And just take things in. Beyond the daily activities necessary to live comfortably, there must be a reaching. This is beautiful. See, it's just a beautiful, I mean, come on, y'all. I know. Okay. A desiring, a progress of the mind and soul. Otherwise, we are no better than the animals. They have as much. And it stops there. Doesn't stop there. We're going to stop there and come back. I mean, that last part is like, this is what I'm talking about. Finding that balance. But anyhow, I want to thank you guys for watching, and take care. Don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. And join us in the Facebook group American Aborigines Unchained if you haven't already.